la ballerina che adesso balla in teatro, il calciatore che ora gioca nella sua squadra del cuore, per ogni studente che ancora non ha mollato e trova la forza nelle parole di quella canzone. Ce n'è 1 milione che non abbandona e tenta ancora, che si convince che questa volta è la volta buona. Se ce n'è uno che vince possiamo farlo tutti, il tuo sudore, la tua occasione, che fai la butti.
Nulla è impossibile se credi in quello che fai, chi ci crede chi è che ha fede e chi riesce a vincere anche senza te. Nulla è impossibile se credi in quello che fai, chi ci crede chi è che ha fede e chi riesce a vincere anche senza te.
Quando ero piccolo qualcuno mi ha detto che sono i sogni nel cassetto che ti rendono uomo.
I love that song. I absolutely love that song.
It's catchy. It's got a nice hook to it. It has a great rhythm to it. Not a big fan of it, but you know what? I like it. It's catchy.
Nulla è impossibile by Nero Argento. Kind of an unknown song. I had to dive deep into YouTube to find it.
Yeah, it's not one of the more bigger names of Italian music.
It's all about...
in terms of pop radio that got traveled over to here, but still.
It's about making something possible out of nothing. Nothing is impossible. Let's put it that way. Here on the Calcio Guys with Gianni and Adreano, I'm Nicholas DiGiovanni. Adriano is on his way once again.
But
Classic
you know what?
105.
On the theme of nothing is impossible, one day he will be on time because nothing is impossible. Or the 105, whatever.
For our listeners here on CJO 6090, if you're not from Montreal and you've heard us talk about the 105 before, we've definitely given it a bad rap.
I think it's the third show in a row that we crap on it, to be honest.
Yeah,
with you.
even though it's a great bus that takes from Vendôme, you could come all the way to NDG, comes every 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. It's a good bus. It's user error, as we said last week.
Yes.
Napoli. So, pretty good week in the Serie A. We had a couple of high-scoring games, like Inter Sassuolo. Inter finally able to break those demons. But then one player who was able to break through demons was Eric Milik.
Koulibaly still forward. This is Fabian Ruiz. And it's a tap-in for Eric Milik. Back on the score sheet.
So he scores for the first time in... Let me just pull this number up.
It's got to be like 10 plus games. Are we looking at just Serie A or all competitions for Napoli?
Serie A.
Serie A, I think. Okay, if it's just Serie A, I think it's 6 or 7.
Oh, it's his first 2 goals of the season. So
yeah,
it's
but
game number 8.
But okay,
and he doesn't have any goals in the Champions League.
So yeah, so my first guess was really well. Mind you, he was also injured a bit to start the season, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. So 5 games played, and the last time he scored in the Serie A, was match day 32 against Chievo Verona.
Yeah.
So last time he scored against a non-Verona team was March 31st, 2019 against AS Roma.
Yeah, but
against a team that doesn't finish in an A was against Udinese.
No. Like, I was very critical of him when he came back, and I mentioned that he had to be the target man for Napoli. The Champions League game versus Genk, he was very unfortunate. He kept on getting the ball towards him, but he just couldn't put it in the net. And they still continue with that strategy. Ruiz with the great low cross curl to his foot, to Milik's foot, and just for a nice tap in. That was perfectly placed. And it seemed like as if him and Insigne probably had some kind of mental communication of some sort to have that free kick go in the net, because pretty much Insigne put it really close to the near post and Milik just managed to put it past the keeper. So he's being a target man that Napoli needs. He's the guy who gets the ball to him and he just puts it in the net. So that's perfect. That's what we ask from him. Mertens also had a decent chance that game. It just unfortunately hit it inside curl, not an outside curl. So hit the back post. But overall, great match for Napoli. Great warm-up for tomorrow, to be honest.
So just to clarify, this was actually only his 3rd game this season. 3 games injured, 2 on the bench. But it did seem like it was a long time that he didn't score. And like I said, match day 32 of last year. So it's been a while, at least in the Serie A. He hasn't scored in the Champions League for Napoli in 2 years since matchday 1 in 2017. And, he played 72 minutes against Genk. Tomorrow they're in Salzburg.
Yeah.
Or is it Salzburg?
I believe Napoli's at home tomorrow. Please fact check me.
No, they're in...
They're in Salzburg?
They're in Salzburg, yeah.
Oh, okay.
They're in Salzburg, so they're going to need him to get going. Roma, let's go to your other team, Gianni. Let's go to your other team. Get him out of the way because we're going to have Marcello Furgiuele join us at 2:30.
Yeah.
Talk about Milan.
So might as well give Milan all their time to shine later on.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking about Napoli, we're going to have a huge guest next week.
Ooh.
We can't say it, though. We can't say it right now.
Oh,
huge guest.
Getting shivers down my spine.
He's popular in
Body
Montreal.
aching all the time. Just kidding.
Part of Napoli fan club Montreal, so we're going to talk to him next week. You're going to have to tune in to find out. You won't find out any other way unless you tune into CJO 1690 next Tuesday. So Roma 0-0 against Sampdoria, against former boss Claudio Ranieri on his 68th birthday. More injuries.
Yeah. Overall, it's good to have Dzeko back, but the midfield is just completely decimated right now. A lot of key roles. Cristante's out. Diawara's out. Now Kluivert's going to miss a game because of the suspension, but it's just for one game. Overall, it's a team that it's pretty decimated in that midfield, and you could see it in the game. Sampdoria pretty much. Actually, you know what? I feel like as if Sampdoria was playing as a different team. They weren't the same Sampdoria as we were with Di Francesco was. I don't know. I feel like as if the mentality was different. They had some solid chances, some scary ones. But for me, I feel that what's going to suck for Roma is that when it comes to the Europa League, it's probably not going to be enough to help them get that W, especially in the spot that they're in, where they really want to maintain that first place position, so they need to get that W. But the injuries, it seems like as if it's like a rotating circus right now, where it's just like one player comes back, but another one gets injured, and one player comes back, and this player is missing a game because of a red card. It doesn't help when you want your team to climb out of the middle of the pack, because right now they're in sixth, but they're slipping down. They're sliding slowly because they're losing out on points. Even though, I'll give credit to Sampdoria for playing better, this was a missed opportunity for Roma for getting 3 points because this is the last place team in Serie A. You need to get those wins.
So as you said, they're in sixth with 13 points, just 3 points behind Napoli in fourth. So it's those games there, like the 0-0 draw against Sampdoria, that 3-3 draw against Genoa. I'd say too the 1-1 draw against Lazio, but that's a game they should have lost.
That was a game they should have lost. That was a game that Lazio deserved fully, but it's just like the posts were playing for Roma at that game.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, Genoa and Sampdoria, two teams that Roma drew, two teams at the bottom right now. Yeah. And so it looks really bad on them. Lazio Atalanta, that was a pretty crazy game.
And they could be in trouble again. In trouble here for Gomez, who slots it impeccably, immaculately, undeniably. It's Atalanta's first half. They are romping away with this. It's been a thriller of a match, and it's 3-3.
So from 3-0 to 3-3, Atalanta blows that 3-goal lead. And did you see at the end too? They had a few goal-scoring chances in the 90th minute before Immobile's penalty, and they were just passing around the ball in the box, and nobody could finish. And this is a game they have to be disappointed in themselves.
Well, I mean, Strakosha made some great saves for Lazio, he did. So it's not like as if they weren't trying to capitalize it. It was just, he doesn't have a shot, pass to the other forward who's got a clear angle, then all of a sudden the defender just slides in and he blocks it. And I forget which defender it was, but he stops the goal on the line right there.
It might have been Acerbi, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah. The one thing, though, I do want to comment on is that I'm not trying to say this because it's Lazio. I'm saying that first penalty shot that was given to Immobile.
Oh, terrible.
It's arguable that it is, arguable that it isn't. It was a bad challenge, but there was no serious contact. If anything, the tip of his toe touched Immobile's back foot. Like, I don't know. It's a call is a call. It is a bad challenge. He does not touch ball at all. And it is inside the box. So I get it. That's where I'm on the side where, like, yeah, it is a penalty. But in itself, it's like, that's such a light challenge. Like, it's one of the worst penalties to be given. But then again, Roma has also been lucky to get penalties like that in games that they didn't deserve to win. So it's the Serie A itself. The officiating is never going to be perfect in the world, and no matter amount of games, there's always going to be that one or two bad calls. I
think it's one of those calls where the VAR wouldn't have overturned whatever referee decision was made because the referee called it a penalty on the field, went to VAR. There's not enough to overturn it. There is the slightest of contacts.
Yes.
If the referee didn't make the call on the field and it went to VAR, obviously wouldn't have given it.
The VAR wouldn't have made a decision to be like, you know what, that's a penalty type of thing. I agree, because it's a light contact, but it is still a contact, and it is in the box. No ball was touched. By the book, it's a foul. One thing, though, I have to give credit to Lazio is that they came back from 3-0 down.
Yeah, their offense looked really good. We're going to take a short break. On the other side of the break, we're going to continue with Serie A Match Day 8. Genoa closing on a former player, a guy who was playing just a few years ago for a coaching position, and Atalanta has their night of their lives. Big night ahead in Manchester for Atalanta. Next on the Calcio, guys, on CGO 1690. That's Adreano. I'm calling you out there.
What's going on?
He's joining us, Adriano Donato, Gianni Del Colli. I'm Nicholas Di Giovanni. So about 15 minutes time, Marcello Furgiuele, il Presidente of Milan Club Montreal, is going to join us on air. We're going to save our Milan chat for that, Adriano. And they just hired a new coach. Didn't go so well. We'll ask Marcello about that. Genoa refrained from firing their coach, Aurelio Andreazzoli, at the international break. And they're close to getting Thiago Motta as a coach. This is a guy who was playing the Serie A just a few years ago. Was playing for the national team up until about 2014. No, 2016 even.
Yeah.
So it would be interesting to see him.
Yeah, playing as a mentor towards Verratti, if I'm not mistaken, in PSG as well.
And by the way, it's official actually that Genoa fires Andreazzoli.
Oh, so it's okay. So it's official.
Huh? Motta's in.
Well, is he officially hired, or is he the rumored to be the replacement?
Okay. This is changing pretty fast. On Wikipedia, it does say that he's hired as Genoa's coach. That means it's good, right?
Oh wow! So if it has to be on Wikipedia, it has to be true.
I don't know. I think the Marcello was saying it, and a lot of things on social media was pointing towards Motta as coach. So
Gianluca Di Marzio is a pretty reliable source on Twitter. But okay, let's say it's done, finished. Yeah. Thiago Motta signs as a coach with Genoa. How do you guys like that?
Cool, but you want it? It's probably his first coaching stint. Do you want it to be as part of the show back in Serie A, like in the top league? You think really that's a good idea?
I personally don't like the move. I don't know. I liked Andreazzoli as a coach. I think he was shown the door a bit early. We see that all the time in Italy. But Thiago Motta, I don't see that being an upgrade as coach with whatever coaching experience he may or may not have. I don't know. On the pitch, he wasn't anything spectacular. Behind the bench, I don't think so either. So yeah, for me, I'm not a big fan of the move, but we'll see what they do in Genoa.
So Thiago Motta as a player played for Barcelona between 2001 2007, Atletico Madrid in 07-08, and then actually played for Genoa 08-09, Inter from 2009-2012, winning the treble, and Paris Saint-Germain 2012-2018. One of the few players in history to have played for two international teams at the senior level, Brazil in 2003 for 2 games, and then switch allegiance and joined Italy. He's kind of a unique case in the world of soccer.
In terms of coaching, though, I don't think...
No, he just coached the PSG U19 team last year.
How did they... Well, does it say his record on Wikipedia by any chance?
I'm going to look that up.
But for me, I don't think Genoa, the issue was the coaching. I think the issue was when they sold Piontek to Milan, you just lost your top striker who was on fire at that point last year. I remember last winter we were discussing it on the bus that I think it would have been too early to pull the trigger on selling Piontek. I mean, like, props to AC Milan for getting him, because that you get yourself a 10, 15 plus goal scorer. If he's got a good supporting player, 20 goals. But I mean, I think you lose Piontek, you don't replace him at anything. How do you expect to win games? Sometimes that goal or two, sometimes that goal makes a draw happen, gets you those points, or sometimes that goal or two can get you the W, surprisingly over certain teams, and helps leapfrog you back into the middle of the pack. I don't really think it was coaching that was the issue. I think it was just you selling your best piece and you don't replace it with anything. That probably causes them to be in this position at this point in time. But hey, if they think Motta's the guy to go with and they have their faith in him, then you know what? Good luck.
Okay, so Atalanta, Champions League today. Atalanta's in Manchester. Juventus hosts Lokomotiv. Napoli's in Salzburg tomorrow. And Inter...
Dortmund.
Inter is in Dortmund?
No, it's in Milan.
Yes, it is. And then on... I wrote it down in our notes, and I'm not reading those notes. So Inter hosts Dortmund, and then on Thursday, Roma hosts Borussia Mönchengladbach, Celtic hosts Lazio. Atalanta, they're going to show the world, they're going to show the English footballing world what they're made of tonight.
I hope so. I mean, I've said it time and time again. Atalanta, Champions League, go out there with no fear. Play your game. You have nothing to lose. Obviously, this is a tough competition against Man City, one of the better teams in the Premier League. But if they go out there, play their game, and the game that we know and love, and we've seen in Serie A these past couple of seasons, I think they can give City a run for their money. Will they get the win or positive result? That's time will tell there. But I think they can definitely give it to them, and I think they can probably shock a lot of people in the process.
If they want to get back into the conversation to continue on back into the round of 16 in Champions League, they need to win today. If they don't get it, I guess they should start focusing towards maybe finishing third to get Europa, or if you're lucky, second. But just to even be in the top two of your group, you need this win.
And so Inter hosts Dortmund tomorrow. That's another team that has quite a few injuries. I'll just pull the injuries up, but they beat Sassuolo 4-3. Finally got rid of those demons. And it was a game on the scoreboard that actually looked closer than it actually was, because Inter went up 4-1 with two penalties.
Yeah.
With two penalties. And then Sassuolo came back. So Alexis Sanchez, Danilo D'Ambrosio, and Stefano Sensi are hurt right now for Inter. So key players. These are starting players.
Yes.
And I mean, they look. I know it's only been one game since the international break, but they've looked good. And another test tomorrow night against Dortmund.
I think so. I think Sensi is probably the biggest missing piece in those names that you named there.
Not D'Ambrosio.
No, D'Ambrosio. I don't even know why he starts, but
he's good. He's good.
He's all right. But I think Sensi, no doubt, he's probably the biggest missing piece over there. Alexis Sanchez, he hasn't really been a starter. He's kind of more came off the bench, but if need be, he can be a starter. So I think, with Conte in his midfield, I think it's going to be a bit of a blow. They do have some guys that can replace Sensi. I just don't think, skill-wise, caliber-wise, it'll be the same, especially against a tough team like Dortmund in Champions League. So, they're in last place right now, I think, in their group. They're in probably the group of death in Champions League. So I think it's all, everybody on board for this game, and we'll see where it goes.
So back to the Serie A, former Inter player Raja Nainggolan scored this crazy goal on the weekend.
Decent delivery headed away as far as Nainggolan. And Raja Nainggolan with an absolute stunner! What a strike!
A fan favorite goal, a worldly goal, a world class goal from Ninja himself. His first goal for Cagliari, or at least first goal back in Cagliari. Without looking at the standings, Adreano, you can't look at the standings. You're on your phone. Without looking at the standings, sorry. If I asked you, what position is Cagliari in? How many points do they have? Would you know?
I wrote it down in my notes here.
Okay,
so
no notes.
I was looking at the table over the weekend. Oh my god! I know which it's crazy to think about. I'm pretty sure I know they're in the top 10. Fifth. Is that what it is? So they're in the top 5. They're in the top 5. Correction. They're in the top 5.
Adriano, he's going big. They're in the top 20.
They're in the last spot of the top 5.
So pinpointing on number 5 position. How many points? I have absolutely no idea.
I think 14.
14.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Johnny's actually looking his notes.
Yeah.
Johnny's actually looking his
No, actually, I didn't write the number of points on my notes, but from what I remember, because I think they're one behind or one ahead of, they're one behind of Napoli, if I'm not mistaken. Napoli has 15.
No, 16. They're 2 points behind.
They're 2 points behind. Okay.
Yeah.
But you know what? Ninja is known to score those kind of goals.
He scored one against Juventus last year.
Yeah, or even if you watched the Euro Cup 3 years ago against Wales when Belgium lost 3-1 to Wales, the one goal for Belgium was from Yangola and was a little bit past the center circle. Just a little bit past the center circle, just rifles it, and it just hits top shelf. And honestly, I'm like, this guy just makes it look so easy.
Yeah, it's.
I wish I could score goals like that.
Off the volley, one touch, and it's top corner, and it goes.
He never skips leg day, I think.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't score often, but when I do, it's a world class goal.
Yes,
but no, seriously, Cagliari. This is a good team, 4-2-2, and they're kind of playing under the radar right now, and they're picking up results. 2-0 win against Spal. And, I mean, Rolando Maran's got to be happy with his side.
I think he's an underrated manager in Serie A. A Cagliari team that's been probably middle of the pack, near the bottom of the pack these past couple of years, whatever. But I think, he goes under the radar. This team goes under the radar. They did, I think, make some acquisitions over the summer, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, Nangolan, the main piece there. But I don't know. I think all cylinders are rolling there in Cagliari. And, it's exciting to see. It's strange to see them in the top 5. You didn't expect that.
It's early on.
It's early on, yeah. As we've said many, many times on this show, it's definitely early on. We'll see if they become, the Spal of last year?
Yeah,
was it the Spal of last year?
Yeah.
They started off hot and then they kind of dwindled down. But
I think they have better players than Spal, though.
Yeah, I think so. But, we'll see how it goes. I mean, the Serie A season is totally unpredictable, so we'll see what they do.
But, I mean, unlike Genoa, they weren't afraid to spend money this summer. This is a mid-table team. It's a team that I think it's maybe their 4th or 5th year since they got promoted. They're in a similar situation to
longer.
Genoa.
Really, 4th or 5th year? It feels longer.
But Genoa added some pieces, too, in the summertime. They brought in Zapata. They brought in Pinamonti. I know they have somebody else, Olsen, I think. Well, no, Olsen plays for Cagliari, yeah? Yeah, okay. But I know Genoa did add some pieces. They were pretty,
at least Cagliari got the wow. I searched on Google Cagliari 2019-2020 season, and the Calgary Flames popped up.
Welcome to Canada.
Yeah. No, but it's I mean, getting Yangolan for them was like a blessing. I mean, well, mind you, it's the reason why he went there is a really sad reason. Obviously because his wife's battling cancer and it's closer to home for her and whatnot. But in the end, for the team, though, it was like a blessing in disguise. He came for sad reasons, but they're making the most out of it, and it's being beneficial for both him and for the city itself.
I think it just kind of like a welcome home for him too.
Yeah,
he obviously was at Cagliari before, and I think he kind of got maybe out of a toxic situation at Inter. He was shown the door, so he went back home, and I think he's producing relatively well. Now,
essentially, it makes that Roma move for Niangola and for Zaniolo pretty much free, because that means Roma just got Zaniolo free. Imagine that Inter midfield with Zaniolo.
Yeah.
You got Barella, Sensi, and Zaniolo?
With Conte at the helm. I think.
Oh, my God. That would have been scary to think about.
Yeah.
Oh, that's their fault.
That would have given Juve a run for the money. Well, technically, they still are.
Yeah, for sure.
They're only 1 point behind Juve, so.
So by the way, Cagliari brought in Marco Rog, Rajan Angulan. Giovanni Simeone, and they kept Luca Pellegrini. So not a big splash. They also brought in Fabrizio Cacciatore from Chievo, so a good veteran along the back line. And so, these are guys that are going to produce for their team. They're not just spending money to spend money. They didn't spend. They spent 18 million on Nahitan Nandez from the Boca Juniors.
Boca, yeah.
And frankly, I haven't heard his name too much. He's been.
I think he's been on on the score sheet, like stat wise.
How old is that guy?
23.
23. Yeah, there you go. Young guy.
They spend the money on him, and then got Nangolan, Pellegrini, Rug on loans, including Simeone. Adreano, is the Presidente going to join us?
Yeah, absolutely.
In about a minute.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have him on.
Awesome.
So we'll take a short break here on the Calcio, guys. On the other side of the break, we're going to hear about all of Milan's problems, or maybe lack of problems, depending how Marcello looks at it. Next on the Calcio, guys, on CJO 6090.
Rebic back to Calhanoglu, lovely footwork. Piontek's there on the end of it. Starting today on the bench, and he might just be the hero. These are nervy moments for Milan. Calderoni hits it. It's a thunderbolt. Marco Calderoni has stunned the San Siro, and look at what it means to Lecce.
So yesterday in Canada, for those who don't know, there was an election, and the Canadians chose the Liberals. They chose the Red Party. But online with us is a man who always chooses the Red team. In fact, Rosso Neri, Presidente of Milan Club Montreal. Marcello, how are you?
Hey Nick, how are you guys?
Not too bad. But I seriously got to ask you, Marcello, how are you? How are you as a Milan fan? Are you holding up?
Well, surviving, I guess. Just that game, it gives me flashbacks of when Gattuso started, and I don't know if you remember that game against Benevento when the goalie scored on us in extra time, and here we go again. Pioli has his debut, and he gets scored on in extra time as well with another crazy goal. So we have the flair for the dramatic. Let me tell you.
And it's funny, both Benevento and Lecce have the same colors.
Yep, and they're both teams that got promoted from Serie B at the prior season. So we love to help out our smaller teams.
Yeah, it's aggravating to see we give these Christmas gifts so early for these teams. But Marcello, I mean, what do you make of the game and allowing Lecce coming back twice in the game? And what do you make of maybe even Pioli, his tactics in his first match with the Rossoneri?
Well, in the first half, I was pleasantly surprised. You actually saw the players; they were moving a lot. They were going for the ball, and Leao in the first few minutes already had 2 chances to score. And it felt like the players were, how do I put it? They were like given the freedom to do what they wanted in the offensive zone. If you look at even Hakan's goal, he moved all the way on the opposite side where Suso is, and he scored from there. And I'm thinking maybe with Gianpaolo and Gattuso, the players, it was more rigid, the system. Like if you're a left mid, you got to stay on the left side. And the same thing with the strikers, like they have certain movements. I saw a lot of players going all over the place. And I was also surprised to see Paquetá and Kessie switch places. Normally Paquetá plays left mid and Kessie on the right. They were swapped, which was kind of interesting to see. So anyway, that's for a first game, the impression I got from Pioli. But what Pioli can't control, and no matter which coach we're going to get, we still can't control this unless we get a therapist, is the mental aspect of the game, and that's where Milan is mediocre. First of all, Conte gets that penalty shot, Gigio makes a save, you got to help out your goalie. That's already very frustrating how they let them back in the game on that point. And then at the end, how you manage the game. You have a 1-goal lead. You have to either get the insurance goal or you shut down your opponent. And again, Milan, for the 100th time, they just let points drop like crazy over individual mental lapses. That's all I could how I explain it. It's mental errors. They're under stress, I guess. They just felt like they had to win the game. They panic. They do stupid things, and then we drop the points.
So you're saying that it's a very big mental thing, but a lot of fans from the get-go were pretty much thinking that Pioli wasn't the right guy. Like even before he had his first game, they had already trending on Twitter, Pioli out. And what do you think about that? Do you think maybe the mental mistakes and the mental issues are coming from Pioli itself, or do you think maybe it's just the Milan team just has this curse on them right now?
Well, you could use the word crisp, but it's also the quality of the players. It's not an excuse, but we do have one of the youngest teams in Serie A, so there are some players that are lacking experience. And compared to the Milans of the past, we don't have any top players or world-class players. We have some very good players and some other players that I would consider average. So when it comes to the mental part of the game, I just find there's a weakness there. And this Pioli out thing had nothing to do really with Pioli himself, by the way. Most people I spoke with, and including myself, felt it was just a way to send a message to management at that point. Well, you're replacing Gianpaolo with Pioli, which, I mean, I think he's an okay coach, but he's not like a really top coach. So my point was he's going to maybe do just as well as Gianpaolo, maybe a little bit better. And we were expecting to have a significant change at Milan. So there's also a protest about how quickly Gianpaolo got replaced. You talked about having patience, starting a new project. You wanted to invest in young players and a different style of play. And after a few games, you already let go of the coach. So I think it was a combination of things, that hashtag. It was more towards the team, and fans just have no more patience, and we just got fed up.
Marcello, I'm pretty sure last year, if I'm not mistaken, you were our first guest on our very first show when we started the show about a year ago.
Busso.
Yes, you're right. I remember.
And I remember you saying at the time, Milan is not like the Milan of the past, and obviously nothing has changed in a year. It's been the same story the past few years. And where they are right now, so low in the table, I know they just fired a coach. They just brought in Pioli. But is it time to hit the panic button just yet?
I don't think so, because I still find there's a lot of games left to play. In fact, statistically speaking, there was in 2012-13 season, Milan was actually at the same point like they are right now, 10 points after 8 games. And that season, they ended up finishing third. Now, I'm not saying this because I think Milan's going to finish third. I mean, if you compare our roster to the one we had back then, it doesn't compare. But it just goes to show it's a long season and anything can happen. So I'm not the type that's panicking right now. I figure maybe after between 10 and 15 games, if we see Pioli is unable to really get this team going, then at that point I would say, yeah, forget about reaching the top 4. It's impossible.
So talking about panicking, I know a lot of fans, Marcello, are on this. I guess this wave of Piontek, the number 9. He's cursed. He can't score. Finally, we saw him score again over the weekend in that game against Lecce. I know we talk a lot, us two and our whole Milan Club Montreal members. But what do you think of Piontek? Are you sold on him, or is it still the whole scenario of he has no service, or he should be doing more? What do you make of Piontek? Lack of goal scoring and just mediocre play.
Well, I find this year you see a difference compared to when he started last year. He seemed less hungry and less aggressive than he was before. Yeah. He had this ability to free himself up from defenders, and when he was available in certain spots to take a shot on net and score, he had that killer instinct. I don't know what happened with him this summer, and then when he started the season, either it's something with the new system that Gianpaolo was trying to implement that didn't sit well with him. You could see he doesn't have the confidence that he has before. So I think from one season to another, how do I put it? I don't think he really lost his skills, and I don't think, like many people do, that he's a one-season wonder. I saw him play quite a bit last year, and you see he has the skill. I think it's more a motivational thing, and like any goal scorers, you go through slumps, and once he gets his hot streak going again, I could see him scoring between 10 and 15 goals this season.
So Do you think maybe a certain type of rotation should be made of the players? Is there anybody on the bench that you think might be a bit, not a savior, but might actually be a refreshing take for the team, or might actually be very helpful or like underutilized?
Well, I believe we have a problem right now at Milan on the right side. So it hasn't been working out with Suso, Kessie, and Conte. We've had weaknesses in that area, and I think that would be where I would like to see something change. So if I was the coach, I'd bench Suso for one game. I'd even give Kessie a break and give some of the new kids a chance to see what they can do. They'll bring a bit of enthusiasm, and they'll also, you won't know what they can offer if you don't give them a chance.
So, actually, back to that Piontek, I kind of told Adriano before, he's wearing the number 9. I wonder if there is a curse from pretty much the Simone Inzaghi days. Pippo Inzaghi. I got confused between the brothers.
Yeah.
Did you see what he's doing in Benevento? They're 5-3, 5 wins, 3 draws. They're top of the Serie B. I mean, as a Milan fan, and you must be happy.
Oh, absolutely. It's something you want to see. You get, how do I put it? It's a pleasant surprise.
There you go. And so, speaking about Milan Club Montreal, I know when we first spoke last year, you talked about how you guys want to bring Milan fans together, but are there any events coming up for Milan fans in Montreal?
Yeah, so what we're doing is we're going to be helping out the toy and food drive once again. This is Cafe Southside, the initiative that we embarked on last year thanks to Vinny and Steve. Basically, they collect food and toys for the Welcome Hall mission, which helps out the families in the Montreal area, single moms, people that are living in the streets. So we are going to embark on that as well. So we're going to have our Christmas party soon at the beginning of December. We'll have some fundraising for that. And also our viewing parties that we do every weekend at the Chorcharos, where we get together to watch the games.
So Marcello, just before we let you go, I just wanted to bring us back to Milan, the club in general.
Yes.
A lot of maybe fingers are pointing towards management. I know, again, we speak a lot, and we know how we all feel about management and Maldini, Boban, the decisions that they're making, Elliott, the whole 9 yards up there. What do you make of their decisions, and where maybe they can hopefully take this team in the future?
Well, I see there's a divergence of opinion between the way Gazeta sees things and the way Maldini and Boban do. Unfortunately, with the restraints that we have with financial fair play, it doesn't take a genius to know, having someone like Maldini and Boban there, they would know the type of players that we need to really bring Milan back to the top. It's not investing in young, inexperienced players and crossing your fingers that they turn out to become really good players in the future that you're going to win immediately. However, the owner is looking at this from a long-term perspective and investing in these younger, cheaper players who hopefully pan out in the future. Whether you keep them or you sell them to make some money, there's a difference of opinion between the two, and I find there's a bit of conflict, and you see it especially with the decision to fire the coach. I see it more as Boban is the one that really took that decision more than Maldini. I thought Maldini would have been more patient, and even the owner would have been more patient with the coach. Because if they really wanted to win immediately, if that was like the real objective of the season, well, I think they would have invested differently this summer.
Anyways, thank you so much for joining us here on the Calcio Guys, Marcello.
We appreciate it, Marcello.
Thanks for coming.
No problem. Ciao, guys. It was a pleasure.
Ciao.
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 Coming up next on the Calcio Guys, MVP and yellow card, red card of the week for Serie A match day 9, or match day 8 rather. Welcome back to the Calcio Guys on CJO 6090. Thanks again to Marcello Furgiuele for joining us. Talk about Milan. In a week's time, we're going to have a member of Napoli Club Montreal who is well known in Montreal circles.
Yeah.
We can't say who it is though. You're gonna have to tune in.
We're spicing it up for you.
You're gonna have to tune in next Tuesday on CJO 6090.
The weather may have a small part in that guess next week.
and so
wow.
City A match day 8. MVP, yellow card, red card. Let's go with the MVP. Who are you guys giving it to?
You know what? Because I probably just stole one from AG, so I'll let him have the one I was going to say originally. I would like to give a bit of a spotlight to Immobile. His 2 goals were 2 penalty shots, but those were with his 8th and 9th of the season in Serie A. The man keeps on scoring. He's on a very good hot streak. His team was down 3-0, got aggressive in the box, got those dangerous opportunities in, got fouled for them, scored those penalties. He was trying to help them climb up that mountain against Atalanta, which is a good team too. So, you know what? Give credit to him. He keeps on showing why he's probably one of Serie A's best top strikers. So, I'm going to give him my MVP of the week.
Adri?
Yeah, I mean, I think me and Johnny kind of have a collective, MVP of the week. I'm going to have to go for Kulusevski for Parma, the young, I think, 19-year-old over there in Parma. He's been having a great start of the season. I believe he got, a goal. What did he get? A goal and 2 assists? Or 2 goals and 1 assist?
Kulusevski got a goal and 2 assists.
2 assists, exactly. So, an unknown player that I don't think many people had their eye on coming into the season, and he's definitely shown a lot of promise, and I hope he can continue. A team like Parma, I mean, middle of the pack team, I think he can bring them to new heights, and if he continues on this path, I think maybe he can progress and get maybe interest from other clubs, and I'm pretty impressed by him. So I think he's also up there. Leading the league in assists or up there, I think I saw on social media. So I'm pretty impressed by Kulusevski, and I hope he definitely continues this path.
And for me, I was going to go, originally I thought of Cornelius from Parma for scoring 3 goals, and then I thought of Meret for Napoli for making some really key saves against Verona, but I'm going to go with the Juventus man, the Juventus legend himself, Gigi Buffon, for his play against Bologna, and in particular, these saves that he made at the end.
It's there to be attacked too. It's off the bar from Santander. Goodness me. He's there again, and Buffon makes the save. The old stager has saved Juve there, right at the death.
So there you have it. Buffon, he was just fantastic against Bologna. He made... I'll pull up those numbers first. I'm a bit slow on the numbers today.
What, on the saves?
Yeah.
They had on target.
They only had 2. They only had 2 shots on target. And they were pretty much just shots at the end.
Oh, I have a different. What are you talking against the Verona game?
No, this is Bologna.
Oh, okay. I'm looking at the wrong sheet.
Yeah, it's because you're arguing with Bruin fans on Twitter.
Hey, they think that David Krejci is a bad player for the Bruins. I got to.
Suddenly we changed into the hockey guy.
No, I got to defend him.
And so Buffon, it's good to have him back in the Serie A that we're talking about here on the Calcio guys. And so let's go yellow card, red cards of the week.
Are we giving 1 card?
Yeah, 1 card.
I'm giving a red card to those racist Roma fans calling out
Vieira.
Yeah, it was Vieira's. Was it
for Samp, right?
Yeah, for Sampdoria. Yeah, it was Vieira. Yeah, it was Vieira. Yeah. I honestly, I'm not going to defend them because even though I'm a fan of the team, that those guys are a bunch of idiots. Racism, we said it many time and time again, doesn't belong in the league. But props to the management team for addressing it immediately on Twitter, saying that they're going to identify the perpetrators and take immediate action. So props to the management team, but red card to those racist fans.
So that's a red card for Gianni.
Could be a red card. The red card is out.
And it's no surprise. Absolutely, it's against the rules.
Adri?
Yeah, so for me, I'm going to go back to the Milan talk. I'm going to go back to the Milan game. I'm going to give my red card of the week to Andrea Conti, giving up that penalty. I believe in the 61st, 62nd minute, I think it was, against Lecce. Total bonehead, mistake by a relatively experienced guy in Serie A now. Andrea Conti, you as a defender, you don't have to have your arm like that. I know he was kind of in an awkward position, had his arm out, it hit him clearly, and it was definitely a penalty. But you don't make that mistake. Maybe the game has a different outcome. But yeah, for me, definitely bonehead mistake by Conti. We like to say that Calabria makes these crazy mistakes, gets red cards and whatnot, but I mean Conte didn't do any better on the weekend. So for me this week, definite red card for Andrea Conte.
It's going to go to the pocket and get out the red. It's a red card.
I'm surprised it's not Calabria getting the red card. Because that's
he had a red card and he didn't play. That's why.
I know he didn't play, but it seems like he just gets red cards. He's going to get a red card when not playing, and so I'm going to go for a second yellow. So we don't use this one too much. I don't know. Do you guys know we could pull this card out? A second yellow. I have a clip for it, by the way. A second yellow.
Look at this guy. He was saving it just to say it. Look at that.
I've had it there for a while.
A red card, yellow card, and also a second yellow card.
Yeah. Well, red card, yellow card, second yellow card doesn't sound too good.
This guy thinks he's funny.
What is it? It's a second yellow to a player who already received the first
yellow. He's wearing
a
clown shirt, so you know what he's wearing. He's got to entertain.
All he needs is the red nose.
I'm not wearing my Napoli shirt.
All he needs is the red nose and the big poofy
hair. No, but seriously, Pulgar, because he already received a yellow, I have to give him a second yellow for his tackle on Daniele De Sena. Just a nasty challenge to the back of his leg. Pretty much, he broke his leg. He's going to be out for a while. I don't like to see that. That should have been. That should have been.
Studs up?
Oh, he went into the calf. He went into. Yeah.
Oh,
it was
unfortunate.
Bad. Yeah. Guaranteed, De Sena has Pulgar's cleat marks on the back of his leg.
Oh, guaranteed.
Yeah, surprised it was not an immediate red. Then.
Oh, it should have been. It should have been in VAR. He did get a yellow, but I'm guessing the City is just going to go back to that and suspend him for a couple of games.
It's a second yellow, it looks like.
Okay, so Serie A match day 9 coming up. Milan, another good test against Roma. That's going to be in Rome, and it's not going to be an easy one for Milan to bounce back from.
No, I don't think so. I think obviously we know Roma's been a bit of lackluster performances as well. Obviously injuries have a key part in that. Milan, obviously we've spoken about time and time again how they've been kind of all over the map. But I think it'll be a good test. I think especially for Pioli, his second game, we'll see what he can do against a decent team in Roma. It's in Rome, so it'll be difficult. But I think if these guys can get on the right page, because I did see some positive things out of that Lecce game, I think they can definitely get a result against Roma. Will they? Time will tell. But I'm pretty confident in that game.
Europa League's next week, right?
No, this week.
Europa League is also this week?
Yeah.
Champions League this week. Then I don't even expect Roma to probably even win that game. I actually think Milan might win that game 1-0 because the squad that Roma's going to field is not going to be their top. Mind you, their midfield's already decimated, but all their top guys that are currently playing, they're going to be exhausted. So I think Milan's going to be much more fresh for that game. I think that's a game that Milan can start rebuilding their confidence on. As much as I don't want to see my boys in red lose, I think your boys in red might actually win that game.
They're in Burgundy.
I'm sure. Giallo Rossi. There you go.
Yeah, it's still considered red. But from my perspective, I think it's going to be Roma's game to lose based on the way Milan's been playing lately. It's a road game. This is a team that can't even beat Lecce at home. I understand Roma has all these injuries and
Roma just drew Sampdoria.
I know they just drew Sampdoria.
0-0.
Actually, Sampdoria is lower in the standings than Lecce, but I don't know. The fact that it's in Rome gives me the thought that Roma could come away with the win. Inter Parma, this is a game last year that Parma won, or at least tied in at the Stadio San Siro. Fiorentina Lazio, that could be a good game, especially considering Fiorentina's been climbing up the standings. They're in 9th right now with 12 points. Lazio is in 7th with 12 points. So I wouldn't say it's gonna be a game that's gonna change the course of the standings, but one team could get a huge advantage over the other.
I think it's going to be madness. I think it's going to be similar to the Lazio-Atalanta game that we had over the weekend. Back and forth, battle for two good teams in Serie A. Two, exciting teams as well. I know Fiorentina is going to come out to play. I think they're at home as well at the Franchi, so I think they'll definitely be all guns blazing. Lazio too. I mean, Immobile, as you said, is hot right now. He's I think on the top of scoring charts in the Serie A. So I think it's going to be complete madness. I think it's going to be a high scoring affair, and I think it's probably going to be a game of the week this week.
Honestly speaking, though, I think Fiorentina is slightly disappointed with the way they played last game. So I think this is going to be like a revenge tour type of game. They're going to probably try to produce better because they expect better from themselves. I'm thinking it's probably going to be like a draw because it is going to be a high-scoring affair, but I think both teams have the firepower to play the game. It's going to come down to pretty much which not defense makes a mistake, but like which winger for whichever team actually does the better play for them offensively. You got Ribéry and Chiesa on left and right, and then you got oh my god, M starts with an M. No, not with an M. Correa. There we go. I was mixing up one for Lazio. Correa for Lazio.
You thinking of Maricic?
I don't know why.
He's terrible.
I don't know why. This is what happens when you argue with stupid fans saying that Krejci is a bad player. I'm not talking about the player in Serie A. I'm talking about the player in the NHL. But in all
funny it's true. There is a player in Krejci.
No, but Correa himself is an amazing supporting player for Immobile. So it's pretty much, I think the spotlight's going to be on those guys who can pretty much help out their team score those goals.
And so Genoa and Sampdoria at the bottom of the standings, they're going to be looking to bounce back. Genoa hosts Brescia. Sampdoria is in Bologna. Tough draw for Lecce. They were in Milan last week, and they host Juventus. So Juventus travels all the way down to Lecce to play in front of some. I'm sure there's going to be quite a few Juventus supporters down there. They don't get to see their team too often, especially considering last time Juventus was there was 2011. Not much to say about that game. It's going to be one of those games where a bottom team's going to try to dogfight it out against a big team. Lecce's going to be playing full of confidence. They have two wins and a draw, 7 points. They are slightly above the relegation zone, but it'll be tough. And I mean, if Lecce pulls off a point, it's going to be
a miracle.
Yeah, a miracle.
You know what? Juve always seems to have trouble with those type of teams. Those not bottom. I wouldn't call them purely bottom feeding teams, but those teams that you expect would probably be a walk in the park for them, and then somehow they only get a 1-0 win, and it's always like near the 70th minute because there was a lapse in their defensive judgment, and then they score.
Absolutely.
Anyways, thank you so much for listening to us here on the Calcio Guys. Catch us next week when we talk about Napoli. For Gianni Del Colli, Adriano DiNardo, I'm Nicholas DiGiovanni.
Follow us on the Calcio Guys on all platforms, Instagram, Twitter, and Mixcloud, SoundCloud, all the clouds. We'll be talking about maybe some clouds next week on our show. So definitely stay tuned.
Bye.
Ciao.